Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're not going to be fixing anything. We're not going to be doing any repairs. Today is a little more of a rant. So after 10 years of boating, we found that it's not always just rainbows and sunshine. There's some stuff about boating that's not always nice. So that's what I want to share with you guys today. Maybe open some people's minds or eyes up uh, to how we should act when people need help, basically. So today, what happened? My sister, my nephew, and his fiance were on the boat, and we were about to. We were on a mooring in Ile Cochon, that's next to the marina in Guadeloupe, and just across from the marina. And I was about to take them to shore because they needed to grab a transport to the airport. They were headed back home to Montreal. So after a 10-day stay with us, which was very nice, always nice to see family. So someone noticed that there was a boat on fire at the entrance of the marina. So I came out. I was in the galley, and I came out and noticed, yeah, there was huge smoke coming out of a sailboat. So uh, right away, I told Ian, my nephew, to pull on the boat. We were heading straight to that boat, try to help. So I asked Natalia, my wife, to bring me all the extinguishers. So she grabbed two of them that are in the galley while I was getting the key for a dinghy. So we jumped in the dinghy, two extinguishers with us, and we headed to the burning boat. There was a motorboat that was circling the burning boat, and I asked them if there was anybody left on board. That's the first thing you want to know, if there's anybody who's in danger. So they said no, and that they were the owners of the boat. So obviously, motorboat passed by and saw that they needed help, picked up the two owners, so everybody was safe. So from then on, I was looking at the boat, and I could see that the dinghy was hanging off the back. So I said, "Listen, I'm going to try and go get your dinghy, at least salvage that." So I asked them if they had a knife. They didn't. I didn't bring one. So that's the one thing I learned. If I ever go and try to help, I'm going to bring a knife. A knife is, you never know when you're going to need one. So, anyways, no knife. So there was another boat there, motorboat. He was just circling and, of course, taking videos. So I went to ask him if he had a knife. He had one, but it was just a small pocket knife. So we got to the burning boat, tried to cut the line, but the line was way too big and the knife was just not sharp at all. So, and then all of a sudden there was an explosion and we got doused in water and soot. So we were full of soot and water. So at that point, I just powered off and that's it. I had checked beforehand. I asked the owner if there was any gas on the deck because there was a few canisters. So I asked if there was any gas in them. He said there wasn't. I also checked that the mast step was not burning because I didn't want the mast. Eventually, a burning boat, the mast will fall, uh, and the mast step was not yet on fire. So I figured we had time to cut the line. We didn't. That explosion, like I said, doused us in water and soot, nothing else. But that scared me enough to say, okay, that's it. We're not putting our lives in danger. So we just backed off. Turns out it was not an explosion. It was a sea-doo on the other side trying to douse the flames with his water jet, basically, which is always a good idea. It's not a bad idea. But yeah, thinking that it was an explosion and then getting too close to the fire, it just didn't feel safe. So we could not save the dinghy. So, bottom line, we tried and we failed. The point is that very few cruisers came to help. There's tons of boats anchored out here in the anchorage, tons of boats going by the burning boat. Mind you, there's not much you can do, but I don't know. I feel like you have to try, you know. So we have been cruising for 10 years now, and we have found that a lot of people are eager to film. Not a lot of people are eager to help. Just a few years back, we were in St. George, anchored out in St. George before there was moorings there. We were anchored out. There's tons of boats all around, and it's about 9:30 at night, so it's dark out, obviously. And I was in bed, so I didn't hear it. My wife heard it. A woman was screaming on a catamaran not far from us, and she was screaming for help. So she came and got me. It's instant reaction, and I was in my boxers, and within 2 minutes, I was in the dinghy with my key, with a baseball bat and light, and the dinghy was down in the water, and I was motoring towards the catamaran. Uh, I got there, and it was no big deal. It was a couple. They were having a huge fight, and whatever, too much alcohol, whatever. And basically, there was me and another boat there, Jonathan. Jonathan. That's how I met Jonathan in Grenada. We actually became good friends because he's the only one. Me and him were the only two boats that came to help. And you got all these other boats around. No doubt some of them sleeping, and some of them maybe have no gas in the dinghy. I don't know. But a lot of them just there on their deck and looking at what's happening, you know, not helping, not trying to help, not asking if they could help, just looking and most probably filming. So yeah, in the end, it was a lovers' quarrel with just too much alcohol to fuel it. So I did ask the lady, but basically we Jonathan and I we played psychology with them, and in the end, I said okay, you know, if I asked the lady if she felt safe sleeping on the boat. Our catamaran is right there, and my wife is right there on deck looking at us. We have an extra room, nice and clean. It's ready to go. If you don't feel comfortable sleeping on the boat, we'll host you for the night, and then tomorrow morning I'll bring you back to your boat when everybody's sober. She said, "No, I'm fine, no problem." So I made it clear that I don't want to drop the dinghy again if somebody starts screaming, because I'm not gonna be very friendly second time around. So nothing happened overnight, and the next morning they anchored up and they were gone. So one other cruiser came, and the rest just looking on. I don't think that's normal. In Prickly Bay, again in Grenada, I love Grenada. There was a kid in the middle of the night tried to steal our dinghy. Well, basically, he stole our dinghy. The dinghy was up on the davits. At that time, I was figuring that it was enough to just lift it and not lock it. I've learned since then because we had it stolen twice off the davits. So, anyways, point is that the kid dropped the dinghy. I heard it, but too late. He was already trying to start the engine by the time I got on deck, and he did not succeed because I don't leave the kill switch cord on the engine. When I never leave it on the engine, so basically the kid could not start the engine, and I was screaming so loud. Natalia's friends heard me scream. They were anchored about a mile out. It's literally a mile. Well, maybe not a mile, but they were at the entrance of Prickly Bay, and we were all the way at the bottom. They heard me scream. So you can imagine the boats next to us. Everybody was on deck with flashlights, and nobody came to help. So everybody was just holding their flashlight up. So basically, the kid figured, well, I might as well bring the boat back because everybody's going to come on their dinghies and I'm screwed. So he brought the dinghy back, jumped into his kayak. I grabbed the dinghy and I figured, you can row away on your kayak. I asked Natalia by then to give me a pair of pants because I was naked. And then she gave me the baseball bat again and the light and the switch for the engine, and I was off and go and catch him and then hold him until I called the authorities. But he was a smart little thief. He took off the fuel line and tossed it in the water. So I couldn't go after him. And yeah, all the neighboring boats. I'm not gonna name anybody, but anyways, all the neighboring boats. They came. They were, helping him along with their flashlight. So yeah, nobody called the Coast Guard or tried to help in any way. So I think that's wrong. That's I cannot understand that. Now on the other side, there has been plenty of situations where, for example, boats are dragging in the anchorage and all the cruisers come together and save the boat and re-anchor it, grab a mooring, whatever. I've done it, I don't know how many times. Or boats that get stuck on a reef or something and we pull it out or whatever. This is standard practice, and most people do it, and that's fine, that's nice. But my issue is that when it gets dicey, that's when I found that help gets very scarce. But back to the burning boat. So there was nothing that we could do, but we tried. By then, I had to get back to the boat because I had to take them to shore. They had a plane to catch, so I went back and got my sister. We got the bags and everything and brought them to shore. And then I had to come back to the boat and get Natalia. She was headed to the laundromat to go and do some washing. So before we left the boat, we put together a bag with food, water, and t-shirts, shorts for men and for women, because I figured I knew they would be at the marina. They would be at the marina office, so I figured they were gonna need, minimum. Also put some soap, liquid soap in there and stuff. So we went to the marina, and of course they were right there, and they were very happy and grateful for what we brought to them, and hopefully, it will help them in a little way. I mean, you know, I think at that point every little thing counts. So but in the end, all I felt was I felt bad because I couldn't save their dinghy. But I'm not gonna put our lives in danger for that. Not for material. So, bottom line, I'm not looking for acknowledgement or recognition for any of my actions. Far from it. I think that the actions that we take, my wife and I, in situations like this, uh, are actions that any decent human being should take. And I'm not going to point the finger again at anyone, especially not in Grenada. I could name names, but I won't. But if at any point you have looked on without taking action when you could, I'll let you judge yourself. Especially if all you did was film when you could have helped. Note that the video I took was after all of this took place and the boat was way beyond salvage and the owners were safe on shore. Like and subscribe. See you guys.